Okay, in this video today, I'm going to talk about the mistakes I see a lot of startup and smaller garages make in the motor industry in Ireland today. Now, I'd like to caveat this by saying, I'm not saying I have the answers to all this or I do everything perfect, far from it. But a lot of people do tend to ask me for advice because they've seen the journey that I've been on. I'm obviously very public and very on social media and everything like that. So people ask me for advice and I often give them feedback on things not to do as well as things to do. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a lot of common mistakes I see a lot of garages make. First mistake I see some garages make is their stock profile and having no real plan as to what type of cars they want to stock. And buying literally everything they get offered, like there's a massive scarcity or something like that. You need to kind of have a stock profile and you need to know what works well for you. Don't be just buying everything you get offered and just being afraid to say no to certain dealers. No, I had to take all their stuff off me. I have to take that. I have to buy that. You don't, lads. If Audi A4s sell well for you, buy more Audi A4s. If higher mileage stuff over 250 doesn't sell well for you, don't bother buying any more of them. But that comes back to a previous video I did where you have to know your numbers, but you have to know what works well for you and buy more of them. Don't buy just everything you get offered. Following on from that, and again I've touched on this in the previous video, is people that don't know their numbers at all. They don't know what profit they're making on the cars, they don't know what their overheads are, they don't know how much VAT they should be paying on particular cars, they don't know anything really. So therefore you can't improve the things that are going well when you don't know what's actually going well. You need to know the numbers meticulously and you need to go through everything and you need to live your business by those numbers. As well as that, you need to definitely know your break-even point in a particular month and what you're averaging per deal on the car. So let's say, for example, your break-even point is 10,000 euro per month and you're averaging €2,000 a deal. You know that you have to sell minimum 5 cars per month in order to break even, but you have to know your break-even point as well. It's very important. A major mistake I see a lot of other dealers make, and particularly smaller startup ones as well, is they think of short-term money rather than their long-term business. What I mean by that is they make short-term decisions in order to save money now that ruins their reputation in the long term. A classic example would be warranty. They try and cut corners to try and save 100 or 200 euro warranty problem and then lose that customer for life, when in fact the lifetime value of that customer could be thousands and thousands and referrals could be more thousands and thousands again. Now, I'm not saying you have to look after every small warranty problem, but you always have to think of down the line and selling a customer a new car and what your reputation will do and everything like that. Yes, you can take shortcuts and you will make money now, great, in every area of business, not doing a prep properly, not doing warranty properly, over-promising customer. Yes, you will often make money now, but you will damage your business long-term. And as well as that, you won't be able to sleep easy at night because there'll be a lot of people trying to go after you almost because you're doing things the wrong way. So always think long-term. Think of what your business will benefit by in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. Be in it for the long haul. And if you base all your decisions on that, you will really improve your business. Another mistake I see people make is they're afraid to take on staff or not knowing when to take on staff. A lot of people look at additional employees and they just think of it as a kind of monthly expense, but they don't look at it from a point of view as what having that extra person on board, what extra business it can generate and what income it can generate. A classic example is if you're working 50 hours per week, but you're doing 20 hours per week on doing admin work and you're losing 20 hours per week in talking to customers, for example, then it would really pay you to have a 20 hours a week admin person inside the business. That sounds obvious, but a lot of people don't do that. They said, oh, I can't afford 1,500 a month or 3 grand a month or whatever the figure is. But they don't realize the money that they're missing out by them spending time doing some of the lower value tasks in the business. If you own a business, let's say if you're a carpenter or let's say you're a car salesman or whatever it is, you need to focus on your time being spent on the most high value things that only you can do in the business. So if you're in car sales, you need to be the face of the business talking to customers as much as possible, not valeting cars or not doing endless admin work or invoicing. So sometimes what works is that you kind of divide your week down and see where you're spending your time. And if there's anything that you can outsource for a relatively low amount, you really should outsource, or you should either outsource or get in staff to do it. But people are often afraid to take on staff and they miss out. What they do, they run themselves into the ground because they get so overworked and stressed and they miss out on massive opportunities for growth because they're too afraid of the expense, but they don't see the upside revenue generating potential. The way I often look at it as well, let's say for example, go back to the admin person example. If you got in a person in 20 hours a week to do the admin work, and let's say for example, you were paying him 1,500 euro per month, with 20 hours per week or 80 hours per month working on a car sales business, do you reckon if you freed up all that time and improved all your ads and got back to customers and did more videos and doing more social media content, do you think you'd be able to generate in your business more than the 1,500 euro cost of having that employee there? And obviously the answer in 99.99% of cases is yes. So if you look at it that way, it's a no-brainer often taking on staff. The downside, which some people do as well, is, and I see a lot of businesses do, not just in the motor industry, in any industry as well, is when they take on staff, which I'm encouraging you to do so, when they take on staff, they take the foot off the gas completely. There's like, sure, I have someone there inside in the office, or I have someone there working in the shop, and then they're not in half the time. They're swanning off on holidays, they're swanning off coming in late every day. What happens then as well is you get staff in, and the staff can see that the owner isn't interested anymore, and the owners are taking the foot off the gas, and how are they expected to care about your business if you don't even care? So yes, take on staff, but that doesn't mean you have to stop working yourself or really take the foot off the gas and go easy yourself. You should be working just as hard and lead by example. You can't expect your staff to care about your business if you visibly or don't look like you care about it either. Common mistake I see people make, or it's more of a thing that they don't do as well, is social media or lack of doing social media. Lads, it's so important these days. Just putting ads on done deal and expecting phone calls to come in, like, you know, that is an outdated approach. Now, obviously, I'm big on social media and I'm not advocating you copy what I do, because that's my next point. Don't copy what other people do. What works for me mightn't necessarily work for you. I know I'm particularly good at certain types of social media, but I'm bad at other types of social media as well. I'm not really a stat guy or an info guy. I'm more of an entertainment guy, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to rattle off 20 lines of spec on a particular car, partly because I don't really care. But that's not authentically me, but some people are really good at that. So find what your little niche is in social media, but it's very important to do that and get your name out there. You have to remember as well that people are spending a lot more time scrolling Instagram and scrolling TikTok than they are on Done Deal or Cars Ireland looking for cars. The amount of business you will get from just having your name out there on social media, you know, is vast. Like I said, and I'll reiterate it again, don't copy other people. People can sniff out if you're inauthentic. So a lot of people, you'd know, they get on camera and they're just trying to copy what they see work for another dealer, but it's not them, and they look uncomfortable, and people can see this, like, as you're copying someone else, that doesn't suit you. Be yourself, and whatever, I can't tell you what that is because everyone is different, but you have to be authentic on social media. And the final thing that I see a lot of smaller garages and startup garages doing wrong in this day and age is just being generally flaky to deal with. And what I mean by flaky to deal with is just not doing the basic stuff right and not being an honourable business person. Do you know what I mean? Like, even from garages dealing with other garages, like, we all talk amongst each other as well. And if there's a new dealer on the scene or a new trader on the scene and they say they'll buy a car and they don't buy the car, or they show up and they try and lowball you, we won't want to deal with you. Likewise, customers now can go online and they can see 100 different reviews about any particular garage, and they can see the ones that are good, they can see the ones that are bad. People talk, people can see social media feedback, they can see Google reviews, they can see everything like that. Customers are so informed these days. People in the trade talk amongst each other as well. So if you are flaky to deal with and you are dishonest and you're over-promising things, you will get found out quickly. And if you think, and it goes back to making the quick buck as well and making short-term decisions rather than long-term business, like success decisions, you have to think long-term, and you will get found out more than ever these days as well. So don't be flaky to deal with. I find in this day and age, and I could be wrong, but I think that the garages that are honourable and are generally sound, and people in business that are more personable and kind of nicer people, for want of a better word, of which I consider myself a generally nice person in business to deal with, I think these are doing better than ever these days. You will all know back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it was all the tough businessman persona, for example, and they were all hard to deal with, real hard-nosed negotiators and everything like that. But like, I think more than ever now, maybe we're gone soft, but I think people like dealing with nicer people to deal with as well. They like dealing with honest people, people that won't kind of fuck them over. And again, I think the guys that have a real hard-nosed approach to things often, not always, but often get found out more than ever before. So there are just some of the things that I see, mistakes I see other garages in particular make. I hope this was beneficial, and I'll happily take any other feedback or whatever you think you'd like to add to that.